A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hi everybody and welcome to A+ English. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we're starting our story article for this month. It's called Miss Nelson is Missing. So let's start off with a warm-up question to get us underway. And it's, how did you act during school when you were in 3rd or 4th grade?
当我在学校3年级或4年级的时候I was a good student, I believe. And I did like learning. Maybe I liked learning math.
Mm-hmm.
And I got pretty... I was pretty good with my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Third and 4th grade. Oh, it's so long ago, Elsie.
Right.
It's so long ago. We're talking the 1980s here. Good grief. I was probably a quiet, fairly good student. I didn't get in trouble. We didn't have grades at that age. Like, I don't know if I was a clever student or a slow student because we didn't do very many tests, so I don't know. I enjoyed playing football, soccer at lunchtime with friends. And that's about all I could remember if I think back to then. That's the best I got.
Right, I don't remember much either.
Okay, but the 3rd or 4th grade class in today's article, in this story, are a very different group to you and I. They're not good at all. Let's find out about them in day 1 of our story.
Miss Nelson is missing. Warm-up question. How did you act during school when you were in 3rd or 4th grade?
The kids in room 207 were very, very bad. They threw spitballs and paper planes. They made faces at each other and giggled. They were rude during story hour and refused to listen to their lessons. Their teacher, Miss Nelson, said,
"Now, settle down,"
in a sweet voice. But they would not settle down.
"This won't do,"
said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school.
Wow!
Shouted the kids.
Now we can be just terrible!
"Not so fast,"
someone said. They saw a woman in an ugly black dress.
"I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp." Word power.
Refuse. Refuse. George refuses to eat bananas because he really hates the taste. George refuses to eat bananas because he really hates the taste. Lesson. Lesson. In today's math lesson, we learned about triangles. In today's math lesson, we learned about triangles. Sweet. Sweet. I opened the window because I wanted to hear the sweet sounds of birds. I opened the window because I wanted to hear the sweet sounds of birds. Shout. Shout. Clean up your rooms, Dad shouted at the kids. Clean up your rooms, Dad shouted at the kids.
认识字汇
spitball, spitball. Giggle, giggle. Settle down, settle down.
So our article begins. Let's take a look at this first sentence, which is the kids in room 207 were very, very bad.
OK， 所以今天的故事的标题，这个故事的名称是 Miss Nelson， 所以你会知道它会关于是一个女老师的故事。那一开头呢，他就告诉我们，在207教室的孩子们非常糟糕。How bad were they?
Well, let's take a look in the next slide. We're going to see some examples. It says they threw spitballs and paper planes. Bad kids.
Spit 这个字呢，可以当动词，也可以当名词用。那当动词的时候，它是吐的动作；那当名词呢，代表是你吐出来的口水或唾液。所以 spitball 代表是含在嘴巴里面再吐出的湿纸团。That's very gross.
It is. You just get paper, chew it up into a ball, and get it wet, and then flick it. Ew.
Right. 他们丢湿纸团和纸飞机。
Right, and don't do either of these things in the class. Okay, so this isn't all the bad things they do. Let's look at the next sentence, which says they made faces at each other and giggled.
Make face 代表的是做鬼脸，那课文里面呢是复数 make faces， 因为主角也是复数，很多个同学。Let's make some faces, Pat.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Some of those made me giggle.
So some of them giggle. What does that mean?
Well, giggle is like a sort of a childish laugh. It's that sort of uncontrollable kind of kind of laugh. That's what it is.
Giggle 的意思就是咯咯笑、傻笑。那207的坏孩子们呢，还对彼此做鬼脸，然后咯咯笑。And is that all?
Absolutely not. It gets worse. We see in the next sentence that they were rude during story hour and refused to listen to their lessons.
OK， 那 refuse 这个动词呢，代表拒绝，像是我们可以说呢 ，She invited me to dinner, but I refused， 代表她邀请我共进晚餐，但是我拒绝了。那拒绝去做某事，我们可以说 refuse to do something， 像是 You should refuse to help him this time， 这次你应该拒绝帮助他。那课文例句给的是呢。George refuses to eat bananas because he really hates the taste. 代表呢 ，George 这个人拒绝吃香蕉，因为他非常讨厌它的味道。
Yep, I agree. So if you refuse to listen, you just don't listen. You're not quiet. You're not letting the teacher tell the story. You just say no. Here's another example. Darcy asked Eliza to marry him, but she refused. She said no. Okay, so the kids were rude during story hour.
没错，他们在故事时间的时候没有礼貌，而且拒绝 listen to their lessons. Lesson 这个字啊是个名词，代表一节课、一堂课。那课本里面的第一课、第二课 lesson 1, lesson 2， 同学们应该很常看到，那也是代表第一课、第二课的意思。那这边呢 lesson 还可以再有一个意义叫做经验、教训。所以呢，补充给同学们，学到经验、学到教训，我们可以用 learn a lesson。那如果你要说某人学到经验教训，我们可以用 learn one's lesson. So, for example, he learned his lesson and would not make the same mistake again. 代表他学到教训了，不会再犯相同的错误。那如果我们要教训某个人，我们可以用动词 teach somebody a lesson.For example, the teacher decided to teach him a lesson. 代表老师决定教训他。那课文例句给的是呢 In today's math lesson, we learned about triangles. 在今天的数学课里面，我们学到了三角形。
And of course, we are teaching a lesson right now. You have many lessons in school. Although when I was at school, we only had 5 lessons a day. I bet that seems wonderful.
Wow, only 5? We had like 8 lessons. Okay, so back to the article. 孩子们他拒绝听课。How rude was that?
That is super rude. And what about the poor teacher who has to look after them? We next see in the article that their teacher, Miss Nelson, said, "Now settle down," in a sweet voice.
这句话的开头呢，我们看到 their teacher， 然后用2个逗号包夹的 Miss Nelson， 它是一个同位语，那代表两者都是同一人，他们的老师就是 Miss Nelson，Miss Nelson 就是他们的老师。像是呢，我也可以说 My colleague Pat is a really nice person and a professional teacher， 代表我的同事也就是 Pat 是个好人，而且也是个专业的老师。那注意哦，再说一遍，同位语必须要用2个逗号来包夹。
So we use this kind of sentence to add some information. For example, I could say, I have a sister, Sarah, who lives in the UK. We use commas when the information we're adding isn't super important to the sentence. It's nice information to have, but the sentence still works fine without it. So in our article, we could say, their teacher said, "Now settle down," in a sweet voice. And that is grammatically correct, no problem with it. But with this little comma, Miss Nelson, comma, we're adding some quite useful, if not important and vital information.
没错，他们的老师也就是 Miss Nelson 就说啦 "Settle down," 安静下来 but in a sweet voice.
Right, she doesn't just yell at them and say, "Hey, you sit down, shut up, do your work." She says, "Settle down," and that just means sit down, please be quiet, pay attention to what's going on, stop running around and being active and full of energy. We want you to calm down.
那他用的声音是 sweet voice. Sweet 这个形容词呢，在这边代表甜美的、悦耳的。Say something in a sweet voice 代表你用甜美悦耳的声音说话。所以呢，课文当中说到的是 Miss Nelson 用甜美的声音说安静下来，安静下来。那另外呢，酸甜苦辣我们也会用到 sweet 这个字，酸是 sour， 甜是 sweet， 苦的是 bitter， 辣的是 spicy。那如果我们说 somebody has a sweet tooth， 代表他很喜欢吃甜食。那另外哦 ，sweet 也可以当作贴心的意思，像是 her daughter is a sweet girl， 代表她的女儿很贴心。那课文例句给的是呢 I opened the window because I wanted to hear the sweet sounds of birds， 代表我打开窗户是为了要听悦耳的鸟叫声。
Right, we're not talking about sweet like candy or ice cream or sugar here, sadly. We mean soft, kind, gentle, loving, that kind of thing. But does her sweet voice work? We see in the next sentence that it does not. The article says, but they would not settle down.
孩子们不愿意安静下来。And what happens?
Well, next Miss Nelson talks to herself. We see in the next sentence, she says, "This won't do," said Miss Nelson. Now, what does she mean here?
This won't do 代表这可不行，这可不好。This is not okay.
Right, this situation is not good. It can't continue. Something needs to change. Something must be done.
Okay, and what does she do?
Well, we see in the next sentence of the article that the next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school.
Really? 她隔天早上没有来上学耶，没有来学校工作。She quit her job? Okay,
Well,
that's
yeah.
one way out. But what about the kids?
Well, that's true. She may have just quit. What do the kids think about this? We see in the next sentence that they seem happy. We've got, "Wow!" shouted the kids.
Wow! Shouted the kids. Shout 这个动词代表呼喊大叫，所以孩子们知道之后还大喊 Wow! 真的是太可恶了。那如果呢，我们要说对某人喊叫、吼叫，我们可以用 shout at somebody or yell at somebody 也是可以的。所以呢，我们可以说 The woman is shouting at her husband on the street. 女人在街上对老公咆哮。那这句话呢，我们可以说成 The woman is yelling at her husband on the street. 那课文例句给的是呢 Clean up your rooms. Dad shouted at the kids. 代表 爸爸对小孩大喊说啊，把你们的房间打扫干净。
Right, shout just means use a loud voice. We could shout now, but it wouldn't really do well with our microphones. You shouldn't shout in class, but you may need to shout to get someone's attention if they're far away or in a loud place. People often shout when they're angry, or as we see in the article, when they're happy. So the kids are pretty happy about it, but the fun won't last. Or, well, I think it will. We see they say, now we can be just terrible. They're like, great, no teacher. We can break every rule.
Oh my god, how dare they said that? 他们说呢，我们现在可以继续坏下去了。These kids are really, really bad.
Right. What would you do if your kids said this in your classes?
I would talk to their parents.
Oh, that's the big threat. Well, we'll see if that happens here. Let's see what happens next in the article. The sentence says, not so fast, someone said.
这个时候呢，有一个人说话了，他说没那么快。Who was it? Who said that?
Yeah, well, we'll find out. Not so fast can mean just don't run or something, but it can also mean like don't expect this to continue. Like you've already assumed something will happen, but it won't happen. You know, what you think is happening isn't happening. Who is the someone? Let's take a look at the next sentence. They saw a woman in an ugly black dress. New teacher?
Maybe 这边呢，我们看到 in 这个介系词啊，它是表示穿戴的意思，像是呢 a woman in an ugly black dress， 代表就是一位穿黑色丑洋装的女人。那我们先进到 Magic Box 听讲师讲解穿戴介系词的用法吧。
Magic Box.
Do you see the girl in the red jacket? She's so pretty. 哦，是在说我吗？拜托你们可以不要以为绯红女巫我在自吹自擂好吗？ Well， 我刚刚在路上真的就有人对我这样说啊。Okay, yes, I'm that girl. 不过你们可能想说，为什么我可以这么确定呢？其实啊，是因为刚刚那名路人有明确的说出 the girl in the red jacket， 意思呢就是说啊，穿着红色外套的女生啦。我放眼望去，真的就只有我一个人穿红色外套啊，那不是我会是谁呢？好，我先不要激动。那在英文里面呢，如果想要表达穿戴某种衣物啊或是颜色的人，我们就可以将介系词 in 加上所穿戴的衣物或颜色，然后呢放在句子里面去形容你要形容的人哦。就像啊我刚刚说的 the girl in the red jacket， 那也有很多人啊说，哇，绯红女巫你穿红色真的超好看的。I know, I look good in red。 像这句 in 的后面就放上了颜色 red， 代表说啊穿着红色的意思。穿戴的说法啊，除了搭配介系词 in 之外，其实呢你也可以试试看用介系词 with 来搭配使用哦。只不过啊 with 这个介系词呢，通常呢会用来与配件或是首饰做搭配哦。像是说 My red jacket goes well with this necklace。 我的红色外套跟这个项链真的超搭的，对吧？真的是画龙点睛，超级加分的。还有的时候呢，哇，为了闪避敌人，我甚至呢会戴上假发或是墨镜来乔装自己哦。I sometimes disguise myself with a wig and sunglasses。 是的，没错哦，就是戴假发跟墨镜一样的，都是算是配件。所以啊，我们要搭配的介系词是 with 哦。等一下，什么？敌人在附近了。He is in a black shirt with a blue hat。 所以目标是一名穿着黑色衬衫戴着蓝色帽子的男性吗？ OK, copy that。 我马上就出发。同学们，我先不多说了，我得去战斗了，先走了，拜拜。
So, welcome back. We've got the kids see a woman in an ugly black dress. Let's find out who the woman is in the next sentence. We see that she says, I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp.
OK， 这个人说呢，我是你们的新老师 Miss Viola Swamp. Swamp 不是沼泽吗？ an ugly name.
An ugly name, an ugly dress, and maybe this teacher is going to be a bit stronger. But can she handle this class of terrible kids? We're going to find out in tomorrow's lesson, but right now, let's go to our review time activity.
Review time.
So for our review time activity, we're going to take a couple of word power words from our lesson and we're going to review them with some questions. And I just use one of them, the word lesson. Which lessons do you like, or for us, did you like? And which ones don't or didn't you like?
什么课是我们喜欢的，什么课是我们不喜欢的。Of course, 我喜欢英文课，不喜欢数学课。Because I was good at English, but I wasn't good at math.
All right. I liked science lessons. I found the science interesting. It was always cool. There was always new stuff. I didn't like the design lessons, anything where we were making things or trying to design like a project or all of those kind of classes. I found them very boring and I found I wasn't very good at them and I just wished I didn't have to do them. Sadly, it was one of those subjects you had to do. You couldn't choose to give it up until I was about 16 and then bye-bye. All right, let's review another word power word with a question. It's the word refuse. Do you find it easy to refuse people when they ask you things?
No, I don't. I always find it hard to say no to people. But I'm learning to say what I really want to say now. I'm learning to do it.
Okay. I find it easy at work sometimes, but if it's related to a writing thing or an acting theatre thing, I find it harder to say no because I enjoy those things. I want to do them, even when I shouldn't because I don't have time, that kind of thing. Okay, that's reviewed a couple of today's word power words, and that's all the time we have. Join us again tomorrow for part 2 of the story. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye.
Miss Nelson is missing. Warm-up question. How did you act during school when you were in 3rd or 4th grade?
The kids in room 207 were very, very bad. They threw spitballs and paper planes. They made faces at each other and giggled. They were rude during story hour and refused to listen to their lessons. Their teacher, Miss Nelson, said,
"Now, settle down,"
in a sweet voice. But they would not settle down.
"This won't do,"
said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school.
Wow!
Shouted the kids.
Now we can be just terrible.
"Not so fast,"
someone said. They saw a woman in an ugly black dress.
"I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp." Word power.
Refuse. Refuse. George refuses to eat bananas because he really hates the taste. George refuses to eat bananas because he really hates the taste. Lesson. Lesson. In today's math lesson, we learned about triangles. In today's math lesson, we learned about triangles. Sweet. Sweet. I opened the window because I wanted to hear the sweet sounds of birds. I opened the window because I wanted to hear the sweet sounds of birds. Shout. Shout. Clean up your rooms, Dad shouted at the kids. Clean up your rooms, Dad shouted at the kids.
认识字汇 Spitball, spitball. Giggle, giggle. Settle down, settle down.